Okey, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Boleh dengar tak semua?
Boleh, alhamdulillah.
Boleh unmute tak? Jadi saya boleh dengar suara
Okey, baik.
yang participant. Boleh dengar tak?
Boleh.
Boleh Yang lain-lain boleh tak? Boleh tolong unmute because macam saya tulis kat sini, this is an interactive section. Boleh jump in anytime. Okey, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Nama saya Jamal. Biasanya orang panggil Jamal. Jamal. Nama penuh Jamaluddin. Okey, saya memang orang industri. So this session, I will be communicating in English. It's a risk-based audit, online sharing. Basically untuk share apa itu risk-based audit. Sebab saya tak tahu background semua orang, jadi I will try my best to think what you need to know lah. Okay. So this is basically ada 10 content sebenarnya lah. But I will not be covering all the 10 for today lah. And today kalau kita tahu is a 1 hour session kan. So if you talk about risk-based audit, it started with the introduction and then risk assessment. Audit planning ni biasalah kalau auditor dia tahulah. Ramai ni daripada background auditor ke macam mana? Hello? Hello? Boleh dengar tak?
Hello.
Ya, boleh dengar.
Hello, jom kita respon. Jamal tengah bagi kata respon untuk kita boleh bertanya. InsyaAllah kita boleh sama-sama participate.
Ramai participant yang ada sini background auditor ke macam mana? Boleh dengar tak? Hello?
Hello?
Untuk semua yang hadir boleh respon.
Kalau boleh unmute lah. Sebab then kita boleh discuss lah. Sebab session ni tak lama. Is better to be interactive. Kalau ada soalan, because saya memang would like to communicate with people lah. Okay, saya teruskan. Macam nombor 3 ni.
Sorry.
Audit planning.
Your slides are blank on our side.
My slide blank. Ada problem ke Lin? Yang lain nampak tak?
Saya nampak nombor 1 airport industri ni.
Lin tak nampak ni.
Sekejap Saya stop sharing, saya share balik.
Baik. Okay, buat masa sementara ni kita tunggu Haji Jamal punya slide dulu kan. Dia ucapkan selamat datang bagi yang hadir. Terima kasih, kami sangat hargai.
Boleh nampak tak?
Hari ni
macam ni boleh.
Audit.
Nampak?
Ya, nampak.
Sekarang dah ada dah Tuan Haji.
Sekarang boleh.
Okay. Alhamdulillah. Okay, let me start again. Welcome to the risk-based audit online sharing. Like I mentioned to you earlier, this is an interactive session. If possible, you unmute and then you can jump in anytime. I mean, there's no problem to me. And my name is Jamal. My background is in manufacturing. I'm an industry coach and a black belt practitioner. Okay. Black belt kepada yang tak biasa tu basically a problem solver lah. Okay. Okay, for risk-based audit content, there are total 10 And normally we share with the participant. In this case, I'm not going to go detail on 10 of it. Basically, I will touch base few, which is I believe is critical for you. Starting with number 1, is basically the introduction, and then you assess, and then you plan. When planning, I think it's common to most auditor, and then execution. Most of you are auditors or what? The participant. Your background is auditor ke macam mana? Hello? Can you hear me?
Hello?
Ya,
Ya, can.
boleh dengar?
Boleh, tapi saya pun network.
Network
Okey.
tak elok.
Saya kat area sini pun network.
Oh, network tak bagus lah. Okay,
Apa
most of the participant background auditor ke macam mana?
Kalau saya auditor pun je, and then untuk inspection area pun je.
Okay, what about the others? The other participant. Semua malu nak cakap kok. Sebab kalau saya go through the slide, tak ada orang respon, I mean, dia tidak ini lah kot. Okay, biasanya kalau planning, execution, reporting, these are common to internal auditor. A normal ISO standard internal auditor. When you talk about number 6, 7, 8, 8 basically is related to Industry 4.0. IoT, which everything is real time right now. So data is being digitalized in the factory. And then number 9 is the soft skill, and number 10 is some exercise and study. So basically these are 4 content. Kalau saya mengajar audit, risk-based audit, I will go through this step by step lah. Okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, thank you Muzamir for responding. Yang lain saya pun tak tahu. Okay, let me start with the introduction. Anybody knows the difference between risk-based dengan internal audit? Saya suka go back to the fundamental lah. Biasanya yang ada sini internal audit kan, auditor kan? Betul?
Mostly internal audit saja yang saya implement pun before final audit aku buat internal lah to audit.
Okay. Dah biasa buat risk-based audit?
Risk-based audit saya tak pernah involve lagi.
Okay. Tapi internal audit adalah?
Internal audit adalah.
Okay, good. What about the rest of the participant? Yang lain macam mana? In the quality organisation ke ataupun pernah buat audit ke? Any sharing? Tak ada. Okay.
Haji Jamal. Mungkin ada yang tengah bekerja, sambil bekerja dia buka phone kan. It's okay, Haji Jamal je proceed je.
Oh, sebab dia tak ada feedback ni, memang kita tak tahulah what actually you know, what you want to know lah. So it will be very difficult lah. Anyway, I will move through. So kalau kita tengok internal audit is basically we evaluate and improve for the organisation. That's basically what we do. Audit. Compliance basically. Kalau ISO punya internal audit. So basically they focus more on compliance, and then you evaluate and to improve the organisation operation. Same thing with the risk management ataupun internal control. But when you talk about risk-based audit, it focus more on identifying. They identify and then they assess. This is not a wider scope of audit. They focus the problem areas. So most of the time for the risk-based audit, the assessment start with the management top risk. So the auditor will pick up from there. And That's the big difference within the risk-based audit and internal audit. As for the risk-based audit, it's very focused, and their charter is mainly to solve the risk issue which is specified by the top management. As compared to the internal audit, biasanya we do audit for almost all the clauses yang available dekat dalam standard, one at a time. So those are the difference within the risk-based audit and internal audit. Okay, when you talk about risk-based audit, the first thing you do is basically you assess. Like I mentioned earlier, you can get this assessment through the top management list. Okay, if there is no list, normally they should have one, because if anyone compliance to standard, dia memang kena ada lah, especially 9001 kan, dia memang ada kena buat assessment. So in the risk, yes, Muzamil, ada apa? Anything?
Betul. Apa yang Cik cakap betul. 9001. Before tu kita akan buat assessment dulu lah untuk audit.
Okay, so in the risk-based auditing, the auditor identified the potential risk, and then after that, once they know the risk, the second step will start the audit planning, and then later the real auditing, which is gambar ataupun on the field, and then you report. Okay, these are standard flow, sama juga dengan internal auditing. Okay, like I said earlier, the risk-based focus the highest risk. Normally they take the highest risk and then second and third. Hoping with this audit, they will minimize the issue, especially on the business-wise. Okay? Okay, saya move sajalah assuming. Okay, I like to go back to the standard, sebab saya analyse benda-benda ini so that you can see from the big picture, bukan setakat auditor saja. I think you should know what are the best practices being done in different standards in the world. Yang ini saya taruh standard-standard yang you are familiar lah, based on what saya dapat notification on what standards you are in your company. Okay, back to 9001, version 2015. This is the latest version. If you look at 9001, 9000, clause 6.1 actually talk about risk. Okay, 6.1 talk about risk, and then I put here 27,001. This is information security management system. 14,001 EMS environmental, environmental, and then ini saya add up. Saya nak buat comparison. Nanti you boleh nampak. IATF 16949 version 2016 is automotive. Yang ini automotive. Okay, and then 13.1. This is a full ISO risk management punya standard. Okay, so you can refer this as the main standard for risk. So back to 9001. If you look at 9001 here, it only specify at clause 6.1 action to address risk. 9001 is the first standard which they review in 2015, mention the risk punya requirement the company need to adopt. As compared to the 27,000 dengan 1400, if you look at the clause, it's only specified under internal audit. It does not explicitly mentioned the risk-based auditing. Okay, so in other words, if you adopt 20,001, 14,001, you actually do not have to elaborate in your risk-based auditing, sebab dia cuma mention that you have to check based on, because all these standard refer to 9001. All these fourth standard here, which I use as an example, the reference is 9000, 9001 ke? So the 9001 specifically specified that you have to address the risk and opportunity. When you have risk and when you have opportunity, you need to address it. Okay. So kalau kita go back, kita tengok balik. So if I am, my company is 2700, which is information security, environmental management, you need to also identify the risk, tapi not as elaborate as 31,000, because that one is very, very detailed. Okay. So itu yang saya nak make it known to everyone that despite you need to be risk-based, the degree of how you identify your risk-based at respective standard varies. Okay? So now we move to automotive. If you look at automotive, automotive is one of the standard which really mention the term risk analysis, which the company who adopt the IATF 16949 must do the risk assessment. Okay. They have tools. Kalau automotive, dia ada tools dia sendiri. Apart from the others, tak ada tools. You generally can be, as long as you identify the risk and you are working to reduce the risk, it's okay. But for IATF 169, which is automotive, you need to use tools. One of the tools being used is the, we call it, is I connect, the FMEA, which is failure mode effect analysis. These tools is been widely used in aerospace, in medical, and banyak industri yang tak berkaitan juga. They wanted to use this FMEA as the tool which relate to risk. Why these tools is important? Because kalau kita tengok tools ni, dia ada, you have to assess severity of your process. Severity here, you have to assess the occurrence. That means berapa kali problem berlaku, and then the ability to detect the problem. And you have the RPN, they call it, which is the total up. Tidak ada dalam any system yang saya tahu dalam industri yang identified in term of numbers. Isu macam proses, contoh ni proses dia identify as 126. So the higher the number, the worse is the process. So they have to improve it, and to improve it, you have to actually do a lot of improvement. Okay, so this basically just to give you a bird's eye view about the failure mode effect analysis, which is done by the automotive. I think the oil and gas pun ada juga lah, certain organisation dia ada gunakan FMEA ni, sebab dia very widely used. Okay, back to this. Back to this. So the next one is the 1300, which is actually the mother of the standard risk. So everybody refer to this as a full guideline. Dalam ini is specified the concept and principle and emphasize integrating the risk management dengan all over the process which is embedded inside the organization. Okay. Saya rasa saya miss something. Sekejap. Okay, before that saya share saya punya background. Tak kenal maka tak cinta. Saya terlupa ni. Okay, my background is hello. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
teruskan.
Okay. Just because I cannot tak kenal yang participant. So let me introduce myself. My name is Jamaluddin, macam ada ketara. And then I work most of the time in the industry. I started my first job in Motorola. And then I worked in the US for 8 years. And then I came back in 87, 88. And I worked for Ingress Corporation. That's where I get exposure on the automotive industry. In March 23, I decided to get into the industry as an industry coach and Six Sigma practitioner. Okay, my exposure are basically in semiconductors, and I started with semiconductors and consumer electronics, oil and gas, automotive, and I pick up during my working at Ingress Corporation. And then medical and food I pick up during my industry coach. Okay, my full background, my most exposure is in industry, in manufacturing. I've been in the quality, reliability, manufacturing, new product, technology transfer, component engineering. So that's basically my background. My achievement so far is I'm a scholar, Motorola scholar. I'm a certified Six Sigma black belt. And I have patent during the US, my tenure at US. I'm a subject matter expert dalam quality and productivity, both mewakili ASEAN Productivity Organization and SIRIM. And then I do a lot of also integration on the standard. I show you the standard there. And then I'm also a qualified auditor by Motorola, and also a certified NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. And then lately, my focus more was in the Industry 4.0 and trying to develop smart manufacturing and quality initiative 4.0, and then also get into the digital lean healthcare. Okay, so that's basically that my exposure. Lambat dah pergi jauh dah. Okay, back to this. Tadi we get to this. Okay, this and then this. Okay, and anybody have question on this? Ini I look at from the big picture so that you can see. Not many have exposure in IATF 16949 ke risk 31,000 ataupun 13845 ke. So this is look backward with all the standard best practices yang ada. Okay, when you talk about risk based, it varies from industry to industry. Not all industry are the same. Ada question on this?
Tak ada.
Ada.
Cik Jamal,
Ya, saya.
tanya. So, ni mungkin luar topik sikit lah ataupun saya risau silap topik.
Okay.
How about ISO untuk testing?
Untuk testing. Okay, kalau ISO kalau testing tu dia tak specifically sebab ISO ni dia tu generic punya standard which is being adopted by all other standard. So biasanya organisation ataupun company, various industry, let's say in your case services, oil and gas kan, your standard depends on the requirement of the industry itself.
Okay.
the industry itself.
Our company right now, 9,000 2015, and then available. And then some client, he required us to have ISO 17052 regarding for inspection and testing.
Memang ada standard tu.
Yeah.
You have to
So
refer
that one
that
different lah,
standard.
different.
Tapi standard tu
Yeah.
still generic. Standard tu still
Yeah.
generic. The detail is semua requirement on the oil and gas industry.
Okay.
Sebab standard ni dia tidak boleh detail lah sangat, fokus. Macam otomotif pun sama juga. Bila come to certain thing, the German BMW dia specify dia punya own standard. So we have to follow. Kalau Jepun dia ada standard dia sendiri, kita kena follow. Macam gitu. The standard only give you a broad, very
guideline.
surface saja. Yes, guideline. You're right. So in your case, that 17 tu, you have to refer to that standard. And that standard itself give you a framework sahaja. The detail, the how-to tu, the detail requirement, kadang-kadang you have to refer back to the industry you are in.
Okay, faham.
Okay. What about the others? Ada soalan tak? The others. Okay, I assume dah okay lah. Tapi memang saya tahu banyak salah. Ini saya buat slide ni memang saya nak you all nampak the big picture. Because biasanya kita tengok yang based on participant ni, semua orang ada, some ada 2700, some ada 1400, dan most of you have 9,000 lah. 9,000 lah. So most of you. So okay, so kalau tak ada soalan, I move on. Okay, the benefit of the risk-based approach. The risk-based, pasal apa macam tadi I mentioned to you, because the response is timely, because you focus on the issue straight away. Let's say the risk identified by the top management. You will look at that and then do the planning and do the auditing to get into the deep, as compared to internal auditing, internal audit. Internal audit, they go very broad. Okay, so this is the benefit of the risk base, whereby you can actually, if work diligently, you will be able to solve the issue cepat lah, because of the focus. Okay, back to this content. Ada soalan tak yang selain daripada Muzamil? Yang lain ada tak? Saya tak nampak siapa yang participate sebab saya cuma tengok slide saya kat sini. So kalau boleh respon, alhamdulillah lah. Tak ada. Okay, so far just for your information, kalau you tengok nombor 2, nombor 3, nombor 4, nombor 5, these are common to internal auditor lah. Internal auditor, ISO internal auditor common. Tapi when you go to number 6, number 7, number 8, benda-benda ni, the industry itself, continuous improvement, that means once you have the report, you have identified, you need to do action kan, actionable item. So actionable item is where it's a closed loop where you look at it from time to time, trying to improve the process, trying to improve whatever risk which been identified. And then the regulatory compliance ni, because risk relate to government punya ini lah. For example, like environmental, it involve government. So government under dia punya requirement, so you have to comply with the government regulation. And then the data analytic, which is number 8, like I mentioned earlier, this is a new area for most people. Basically, most company are going into digitalize right now. Not most, maybe some lah. Tapi kalau macam big company, big organisation, memang they go into digitize. So that will help the internal auditor with data analytics because all data will be real time. So jadi dia tidak follow up kebanyakan in real time instead of what we're doing right now in manual follow up. Okay, so 6, 7, 8 ni biasanya tak banyak kita jumpa lah. Okay, the number 9 basically the skill needed as an auditor, which I think most of you are familiar. Tapi it depends on individual. The more you audit, you become familiar and you become better at it. And then the last one ni nanti saya akan cuba show you some of the example of the risk base so that you can see things. So what I'm doing apart from number 1, saya akan skip nombor 9. Nombor 9 ni maybe you know this, tapi I'm going to share you auditing. Okay. Dalam audit, there are different auditor have different way of trying to ask question. The best auditor is for them to use open-ended question. Because dia macam lebih kurang macam polis lah. Dia interrogate. Itu style lama lah. Tapi style sekarang ni will be much different. So how you encourage auditee to talk? That's very critical in auditing. Sama ada internal auditor ke, sama ada risk based pun sama. Jangan gunakan close-ended question. You all ada buat ni tak? Dia akan jawab tak ada. Ya, saya buat. So those kind of question you must prevent it. Probing question also good. That's where you can actually find the issue related to the organization ke process ke department. Leading question pun okay. Leading question pun okay. So that you actually can get answer. Sometimes silence itself is a very powerful tool. So these are a guideline in communication. I give some example. Contohnya macam open-ended question. You have procedure for this process. Itu open or close?
Prosedur internal prosedur. Prosedur internal ataupun
tak kisah. Kalau you tanya, do you have procedure for this process? Ini open-ended ke close-ended question?
Open.
Ini close. Kalau do you have procedure, dia akan jawab, yes I have. Itu ya. Dia kalau open ni macam nombor 3 ni. Tell me how do you perform customer satisfaction assessment. Contohnya, tell me. Or how do you operate this equipment? This is open-ended question which need the auditee to respond to you lah. So teknik-teknik ni banyak supaya you can actually find out what are the issues. Auditee normally kalau boleh dia nak sorok the problem they have. So it's common. So nak jadi auditor ni dia kena multitasking jugalah banyak. So building the rapport pun kadang-kadang auditee ni when you first see them, this is the first time you see them, they don't trust you. So how you build the trust within the minutes and second, itu strength auditor lah. So perkara-perkara ni it's the same thing when you do risk-based audit jugalah. Risk-based audit, lagi orang takut nak beritahu the detail of the issue. Takut nanti kalau beritahu, the backfired kepada dia lah. Sebab management tahu dekat sini banyak isu. So nanti takut backfired. So all these things, you must have, you kena tahu macam mana you nak probe, you nak question them and make them still feel at ease. So these are example. Biasanya internal auditor, as far as I know, kalau ada certified internal auditor in-house, dia ada dia punya skill benda-benda ni. Cuma macam saya cakap tadi, over the years you pick up the strength. You cannot do once a year audit saja, tak cukup. So the skill need to be sharpened and then from time to time. Okay, apart from that, ada non-verbal jugalah, because saya tak akan go through detail lah benda-benda macam ni. Non-verbal pun mainkan peranan. Contohnya macam tapping fingers, nombor 2 ni kat bawah ni, tapping fingers bila kita tengah questioning them, you tap the fingers kan, dia pun risau lah. Memang dia tahu auditor nak cepat, contohnya lah. Sama ada audit. So these are some of the thing which as an auditor you need to be aware, so that you are being looked by the auditee positively. Itu yang penting. When they look you positively, they trust you, more information you boleh dapat. Let me ada banyak sebenarnya. Okay, dalam audit conflict in audit. Ini the best is not to be in. Sometimes you do have conflict. Normally auditor dengan auditee, memang problem lah. So normally the lead auditor will need to take care. So this is very important sebab kadang-kadang bila kita probe very harshly kan, the auditee will not like it. So all these things we must be aware lah. Otherwise the conflict will happen. Okay, let me backtrack a little bit here. Okay, as conflict. Okay, okay, when you do an audit, normally some people like to do document audit saja lah. The best auditor is to go at the place where the action is, so you can see where actually the problem initiate. So that's the best type of auditing. And in auditing, the auditor must be in control. Anybody can share what do you mean by auditor must be in control? Anybody?
Apa je? Auditor must be control maksudnya?
Biasanya kalau kita jadi auditor kan, auditor sama ada risk-based auditor ke, auditor must be in control lah, bermakna the way you get information, you tak nak you been controlled by auditee. Pernah berlaku tak?
Pernah, tapi cara dia tu mungkin berbeza sebab previous dia akan control lah segala, example for all document, dia akan control and then any finding, so all is based on auditor lah, dia control auditor.
Okay, when you said dia control document tu, dia control macam mana?
Okay. Control based on requirement. Some document, let's say out of track, and then dia akan minta kita back to on track back to make sure all document is under requirement lah. So dia tak lari daripada apa yang sepatutnya kena buat.
Okay.
And then dia akan revise.
Okay. Satu contoh yang baru saya ingat macam in control. Contohnya you nak interview candidate kan?
Ya, betul.
Sometimes you nak interview the candidate. So kadang-kadang company ni pun pandai juga. Dia punya, dulu dia panggil MR kan, management representative. Dia akan siapkan siapa yang you kena interview. So in this case, the auditor must be smart lah. Dia kena say no, it's okay, I will randomly pick. Kalau tidak, dia dah siap lah. So benda-benda ini you can see happening during your auditing a lot lah, banyak. That's one cases. Macam you cakap tadi, dokumen pun they specify you to look at specific document, whereas your audit should be free flow sebenarnya. Because you have problem here, then you move to the next one is because you want to investigate, because you have that authority sebenarnya lah. But certain company they will try to restrict you. Dia tahulah cara dia, because they don't want you to find out. They don't want you to detect the issue yang dia sendiri dah tahulah. So benda-benda ni penting. So kita sebagai auditor, we must be well versed with all this, what is happening dekat operation, dekat place where all this action is been done. Okay, so banyak sebenarnya macam ini. The more you do audit, the better exposure you have. Sama ada internal audit ataupun risk based. Cuma risk based ni dia very specifically arahan daripada yang terbaik, arahan daripada top management. So bila arahan daripada top management, you have full flash to look at all uncertainty dekat your investigation. Okay? So saya sebenarnya banyak, tinggal lagi saya cuma nak snapshot sajalah. Okay, audit personal attributes. Ini pun penting jugalah to become an auditor kan. You have to be, first is ethical, fair. Fair tu is a very key thing. You have to be fair. Kadang-kadang ada orang audit, dia dah siap-siap, dia cakap kau siap, aku nak tembak kau. Contohnya lah. So that's wrong lah as an auditor. You have to be very open, and then whatever you see, then you report. Kadang-kadang ada yang you tak nampak, you just assume saja. And then auditor must be truthful, sincere, honest, open-minded. Ni penting. And then when you interact, diplomatic, tactful, dealing with people. And then auditor must be very observant. Ini penting. Kalau observant ni kita kena belajar dengan Jepun. Jepun dia buat observant ni memang terror lah. They can stand and observe you for hours and hours as compared to kita Malaysian tak berapa minat benda-benda macam ni. But observant is very important, especially when you want to solve problem. Okay, and then perceptive, versatile, tenacious decision. Decision ni as an auditor, kalau tak ada lead auditor, you kena decide certain thing. Sama ada benda ni serious ke tidak, and then you major atau minor. So these are critical attributes must be ada dekat auditor lah. Okay. Any other question sebab ini one actually 2 days punya program lah, yang saya tunjuk snapshot sahaja lah. Any other question from other participant? Nak tanya ke?
Tak ada buat macam ni.
Okay. Yang lain tak ada Okay. Tadi saya dah go through sikit. So I will show you some of the example which over the years saya nampak ni audit so that I can share with you. Okay. This risk-based finding, I start with manufacturing sebab my background is manufacturing. Lepas tu saya ada sikit-sikit services. Okay. For example, in educate machine maintenance. Maintenance ni the very critical thing in any industries sama ada food ke, sama ada medical ke, automotive ke, semiconductor ke, semua pakai mesin. In fact, oil and gas pun ada mesin juga kan. Okay, stamping company, the finding ini auditor, ini contoh contoh so that you have some idea on risk-based finding What I put down is the finding and then the risk impact. The stamping company has not implemented a comprehensive maintenance program for its stamping machine, resulting in infrequent breakdown and production delay. So that's money itself. Productivity loss, time loss, customer will get angry, macam-macam. So the risk impact here kalau kita breakdown macam tadi kan, increase downtime, decrease productivity, potential safety hazard. So all these 3 component in this case, 3 component ni kita kena diagnose how, macam mana kita nak decrease our downtime. Macam mana kita nak increase our productivity. Macam mana kita nak reduce our hazard. So this is basically the risk which every team need to take up, taruh actionable item, bila nak buat, and then ada improvement tak. So auditor kena follow through satu, and at the same time brief the management. So kalau tengok risk impact ni memang dia akan bring down the return on investment, ROI. Okay, so machine is very important. We design machine to be up 24/7 kan. It's not to be down all the time. Okay, the second one is lack of safety measures. Ini safety dia tak macam oil and gas. Oil and gas safety dia very stringent lagi lah. So finding the stamping company does not have adequate safety measure in place such as machine guarding, lockout, tagout. Ini PPE. These are very common in manufacturing. But common pun ramai juga tak follow safety measures. So the impact will be accident, employee injuries, not compliance to the 14,000 ke, OSHA ke. So those are the standards which been adopted by most company. So kalau kita tengok risk impact ni, so these are the things which the auditor need to sit down with the process guy, engineers ke manager to come out with the actionable item on how to reduce accident, reduce injury, reduce non-compliant punya. Ini contoh-contohnya. And then some other example are inefficient quality assurance processes. The stamping company quality assurance process are not efficient. So when you are not efficient, that means you're not doing good, leading to higher number of defective or non-conforming. So bermakna when you are not efficient, you have a lot of rejects. When you have a lot of reject, you cannot ship your parts to the customer. And when you cannot ship parts to your customer unhappy, so the organization or the company itself will be in big trouble. Okay, so the risk impact here, you tengok, this is what auditor will write down, increased customer complaint, ada berapa persen ke apa, rejected. So all these things need to be taken by the manufacturing in this case, so that they can improve their overall performance. The other example are inventory contohnya kan. Inventory, lacks inventory management practice resulting in stock out, excess inventory, inefficient material handling. All this happen dekat company ya. Excess inventory lagi is very costly ya. Sebab financially is a direct impact. So all this the risk impact will increase production delay, high storage costs, potential disruption. So these are all the example yang you akan nampak dalam manufacturing. Okay. Saya bagi contoh in the service industry sebab saya tengok ada participant daripada airport. So saya teringat bila saya fly banyak kali, saya nampak benda-benda macam ni. Inefficient baggage handling processes. Finding the airport baggage handling process are inefficient, leading to delay, mishandle baggage and customer complaint. So when this happen, memang big problem lah kepada airline itu sendiri. So the impact which you will see directly will be customer dissatisfied, you decrease in number of customer flying at your airline, lost passenger punya baggage, the trust tak ada lah. So negative impact to the overall airline, including the person handling the baggage. And then lack of emergency preparedness. So yang ini dalam industri pun ada, most industry ada, especially oil and gas too. Okay, finding the airport emergency.
Tuan Haji.
Yes.
Tuan Haji, just for remind, lagi 5 minit kita nak ke pukul 11. Lebih kurang?
Okay, boleh.
Okay,
no problem.
continue.
Okay, the airport preparedness, plans and procedure. Sama ada safety ke, evacuation ke, benda-benda ini penting. Dalam industri pun sama juga, dalam factory pun sama juga. So the risk impact, you can see increased risk to passenger safety during emergency potential. Some other example, weak internal control. Ini dalam bank. Dalam bank, the bank has weak internal control. Dekat manufacturing pun ada. Di banyak basically control, how you control you punya authorization untuk nak lepaskan. So end up the risk impact increase fraud. Fraud kita tengok banyak berlaku, financial losses, incompliance. And then ini yang very common, non-compliant with regulatory requirement. The bank is not fully compliant with regulatory requirement. Bila dia tak comply, AMLA pun ada, customer due diligence procedure, data privacy. So potential legal penalties, all this will happen. So these are some of the example yang saya pick up just to make sure the auditor can benefit. Tak detail, tetapi this, let's say if you are 9,000, you kalau buat macam gini, you put finding, risk impact and then the assessment dah cukup dah untuk auditor lah. Tapi kalau macam yang company macam IATF 16919 automotive tu, dia nak more detail lah macam mana you solve the problem. Okay, so that's basically the risk-based audit content yang saya go through. Actually three of it out of the whole thing. Hopefully you have some idea lah the risk-based as compared to the internal auditor. Maybe before the last saya ini saya nak bagi tips tentang auditing. 3 questions have been identified by Gordon McDonald. Sebab apa? Dalam tahun 2005 ada big explosion dekat Britain. Banyak loss, banyak orang mati. All storage blow off. 2005 December 11. So apa yang Gordon McDonald learn from this, dia ada 3 questions sebagai auditor lah. Ini risk auditor lah. Selalu dia suruh kita tanya, do we understand what go wrong? Bila ada problem macam tadi kan, bila ada issue, do we really understand what can go wrong? Apa yang ni? And then the second question dia ajukan, do we really know what our system are to prevent this from happening? Dia orang lain tak tahu tau, kita sendiri tahu. Kita auditor mungkin tak tahu sebab kalau dia audit lain company. Tapi kalau dia internal auditor, he or she should know. And then the third question is, do we have the information to assure us they are working effectively? So these are the 3 questions which Gordon McDonald dia ajukan after that 600 billion tons of oil storage being blown out in 11 December 2005. It was very bad. So hopefully any risk kita kena take it seriously lah. Macam ni, do we really understand what can go wrong kalau isu-isu macam gini? Kita faham betul-betul ke tidak? Kalau kita tak faham, we need to relook back. So, do we know what our system are? Our system yang kita ada, boleh prevent tak? Kadang-kadang tak boleh prevent. Tapi kita biarkan. So, as an auditor, kita kena tegas juga. And finally, do we have the information to assure us that the system is working effectively? Yang itu pun kita tahu. As an internal auditor, as an internal risk auditor pun kita tahu. Kita tahu. So these are the question dia ajukan. And any question sebab saya tak ramai yang respon. Jadi saya tak tahu what actually you are not sure and what are the things which you really want to know. Okay. So I think masa pun dah almost there, so I just berhenti. Any question you can ask. I'm open for a while.
Okay, silakan untuk yang hadir untuk bertanya soalan kepada Tuan Haji Jamal. InsyaAllah kita bantu sama-sama.
Cik Jamal, saya macam ada satu curious lah. Maksud saya untuk daripada segi auditor kan, sebab saya pernah involve ISO yang sama daripada Singapura dengan Malaysia. Tapi Singapura dia punya style audit dia lain lah.
Contoh?
Okay, contoh that one my previous company lah at Singapore.
Okay.
During audit, the auditor just required final inspection report and then PO bukan macam yang saya facing betul dekat Malaysia punya audit.
Okay.
So very different lah. And then kalau Malaysia dia akan datang, dia akan facing dengan kita, and then dia akan tanyalah semua division, and then mostly document kita punya follow atau tidak. Tapi Singapore different, ISO yang sama. Ke memang macam tu?
Okay, dia different tu sebab dia biasanya dia very experienced lah. Dia from the document dia dapat, macam tadi dokumen apa tadi?
Contoh kalau Singapore dia just ambil final report inspection,
and then, okay.
Request, and then PO, DO.
Okay, PO, DO tu daripada situ dia boleh backtrack. Dia boleh backtrack semua. Yang ini dia dah memang experience lah. Dia boleh backtrack, dia boleh tengok ada missing link tak, ada penipuan ke tidak, dia boleh nampak. Tapi the groundwork dia buat sendiri.
Okay, faham.
Compare to Malaysia, cakap kan dia tanya question kan. Dia tanya question tu, they are trying to accumulate information lah. Macam Singapore tu dia memang familiar dengan proses tu. So dia minta dokumen tu and then he or she will investigate. Dua-dua boleh, tak ada masalah.
Ya, betul. So no issue lah sebab kalau Malaysia ni memang detail lah. Every document tu dia minta saya compilekan and then present ke auditor.
Cuma kalau macam gitu letih dah auditi.
Betul lah. Saya
Auditi
facing
letih lah.
last year ISO 9001 2015 5 hari juga saya completekan dia punya requirement.
Siapa you punya certification body kalau ISO?
BV.
Oh, VV, okay.
Dia memang detail lah.
Dia tengok certification body lah. Some are okay. Tapi biasanya kalau ISO oil and gas dia strict sikit lah. Tapi kalau macam factory dia kurang sikit lah.
Okay, faham.
Sebab you punya area ni memang very risk area lah. Memang risk area. Automotive, medical, aeronautical, semua all very high risknya ini lah.
Faham.
Memang macam itulah. So
baik,
any other things? Any others from other participant? Macam mana? Senyap ya?
Okey. Kita dah capai masa yang dihadkan. Terima kasih bagi yang hadir. Tuan Haji Jamal, terima kasih.
Terima kasih Cik Jamal.
Banyak input.
InsyaAllah, terima kasih sama-sama.
Banyak input yang kita dapat, insyaAllah. Terima kasih banyak-banyak Haji Jamal dan semua participant. InsyaAllah ada apa-apa soalan kita boleh hubungi semula.
Okey, terima kasih. Terima kasih
Baik,
semua.
terima kasih.
Terima kasih.
Terima kasih Haji Jamal, semua yang hadir. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum.